If you're not making what you want to make, you're struggling right now, honestly, it just really comes back down to raise your standard. Literally raise it. Wow, what a week. Welcome back. BPM's over. Let's rock and roll. Fired up. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome to our vlog, episode 4. I'm super excited for today's episode. We got a packed house tonight, agents, guests. One thing I think you're gonna take away from today's episode is we talk a lot about raising the standard, raising the expectation, because we all are getting exactly what we expect out of our life. So you're gonna love today. Let's go, come on. Hey hon, you look great. What's your number one goal for this year for business?
Don't be lazy. Get out from whatever I am.
I really feel like this is your year. I don't know what it is, you've been heavy on my heart. It's funny, like when most people need mentorship the most, they retreat, retract, and they kind of crawl into a hole. When we should be doing the opposite. I'll get up on stage, a few minutes left, and we'll just debrief.
I will be right back.
All right, guys, let's rock and roll. The one thing I was thinking about for this group as I was planning this meeting is you just got to make sure that you know what your expectation is here. You know, people always ask, like, how does somebody that age do this, or this person do that? The simple answer is that's their expectation. If you don't expect anything here, or your strategy is, well, I just have to do more, it's just never going to work. Because what is more? Right? Everybody needs to do more. More names and more calls. Well, it's like, you know, I need to lose 10% body fat. Okay, great, sounds good. But you gotta really get clear on what more is and what's your standard. I'll tell you, and I've talked about this before, my entire business plan, my first year, my whole business plan was 50 stacks of white paper, because there's a couple of weeks where I didn't do meetings, 50 stacks of white paper, and on the back of paper I drew 11 lines. And every single week, I knew that my minimum standard was to book 11 appointments. That was my standard. Because I had an expectation to make a certain amount of money after my first year. I set the expectation, I had a standard, and then really the question is, well, how many people did you have to call to book 11 appointments? As many people as I had to call to book 11 appointments. Some days, I call 4 people, I book 5 appointments, right? Like, oh yeah, my buddy, call my buddy. Sometimes I have to call 20 people to get a hold of 3 people. So the biggest hole that I see in this business, and probably any business, but this business and our team, in this group I should say, is that there's not a lot of expectation to succeed. And you're always gonna get what you expect. Does that make sense? So if you're not making what you wanna make, you're struggling right now, honestly, it just really comes back down to raise your standard. Literally raise it. This business was not designed for people to come and struggle. I had a guy on my team a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, you probably know who it is because he told the story, but he texted me, he says, hey, what do you do when you're struggling? And I hit him back, I said, struggle is a mindset. Struggle is a mindset. So what I told him was, I said, no, you've struggled the first 40 years of your life to get here. You shouldn't come here and struggle. Like, this shouldn't be something that takes you to your knees. So, I mean, we're all gonna be going through things. We're all gonna be struggling. But if your game plan is when things get better, I'm gonna win, that's not a game plan. Because things are never gonna get better. There's always gonna be something. Someone's always gonna be passing away. Something's always gonna be happening. So if I could just leave this group with just one thought is raise the bar. Like, ask for more. Ask for more. You deserve it. And maybe your first 20, 30 years of your life, you haven't been asking for much, you haven't been getting much. Well, this is a place here where you can ask for literally anything that you want. Don't ever get caught up in the trap of comparing yourself to somebody else on the team. Yeah. They're not you and you're not them. And you know what? There's somebody maybe on the team right now that's winning at a high level a lot quicker than you did. I'll tell you what, that's a really good thing for them. But it also makes them a bit unrelatable because most people can't relate to that. Most people can't relate to somebody coming in making $100,000 their first year. But you know what they can relate to? Man, I was a single mom for 15 years. I struggled to get by. I had a loved one pass away. I made a decision. I got off my ass. I had 4 setbacks. I thought I was started 5 times, and then I finally got it going, right? So everybody should be setting that goal to their best self. Be the best version of you. I remember when Ed turned to me one time, we were having lunch, and he goes, don't worry about being Ed Milet. And I said, okay, yeah, that's cool. But the way I felt was, wow, I could have used that a year and a half ago. She's putting so much pressure on myself to be somebody else, fill somebody else's shoes, and I just sat back and I wrote a whole list of all of my blessings and what makes Steve Holbrook special. And I said, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do Steve Holbrook. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is, have you really identified what your blessings are? Do you really know what you're after? And what's the expectation here? Because if you don't have an expectation, you're just going to float, and one day you're going to be gone. Before your head hits the pillow tonight, set an expectation as standard for next week. Where do you want to have the next 7 days? Where do you want to be by this time next week? And if you do that 52 times this year, you're going to be further ahead than you were coming into this year. Every week you're going to get off track, and then every Wednesday you're going to get back on track for the year. So, make sense? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, guys, give yourself a round of applause for being here. Awesome night tonight. Great job. Fired up.
For Mr. Steve Holbrook.
You're never going to get to a point in your life where you don't need the environment, where you don't need the leadership, where you don't need to grow. Growth is essential. Have you things not adding? You get rid of things, you get more focused, you're going to feel more balanced. And at the end of the day, we're all chasing more balance in our life. All right, guys, that's it. Episode 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it. Please comment. Please like. We appreciate you plugging in. And if you enjoyed this, let us know. Let us know the part you enjoyed the most. And we're going to continue to bring you awesome content. Stay blessed, and we'll see you soon.